So I'm going to be offering weekly reflections and meditations. The reflections I'm going to call the Pyjama Diaries because they're happening early in the morning while I'm still in my pajamas. And the meditations will be online on Zoom. And they're all to do with anchoring the sacred feminine, by which I mean bringing a quality of heartfulness into our lives, maybe as opposed to like quite strict meditation traditions, anchoring this sense of yoking the mind and like really forcing it into a place where it behaves itself properly. So I've been on very strict meditation retreats, focusing on a koan or focusing on counting breaths and sitting like a soldier, not moving at all until that mind starts to behave itself. And it can be extraordinary. Those breakthrough times are quite amazing in terms of recognizing the limitations of the small self that clings and has aversions and so on. And there's such a release when it happens. However, coming back into life again afterwards, it's quite hard to integrate that quality of recognizing the perfection of this expanded sense of consciousness, the either kind of the soul or higher self, or even beyond that, this kind of sense of oneness consciousness, anchoring that into the problems and difficulties of everyday experience. And then I've also been on meditation retreats, like for instance with Thich Nhat Hanh, where the initial time, the first time I ever went on one of those retreats, I was appalled. I mean, we meditated for 1.5 to 2 hours a day, spent the rest of the time wandering around, chatting to one another, walking, eating, reflecting, and it was like, what a waste of my time. Why aren't I kind of sitting and I want to understand things, I want to become enlightened, I want to bring this thing under control, this mind. And then I got home after the first of those retreats and was amazed at how easy it was for me to integrate that quality of kindliness that had permeated the entire retreat into my everyday life. And it was like, wow, actually there's something really, really powerful about this. And so it's a bit like a carrot and a stick. And this morning in meditation, there was a little boy that I could overhear nearby, whose father was trying to get him out of a tree. So he was getting, get down, get down. And the little boy was frantic because he knew that there was some kind of terrible punishment that awaited him when he got down, either because he'd misbehaved or because he didn't want to go to school. Whatever it was, he was traumatized, poor little thing. And and it just, for me, was such a kind of a metaphor for what we do to our minds as well. Like, this mind must behave, it must behave, just get down, behave yourself. Rather than actually kind of listening to it, what does it have to say? What is it that it's frightened of? How can we hold it gently and with enormous compassion so that it decides of its own volition to climb down out of that tree and explore life fully and be here in a way that is open-heartedly present and receptive to the everyday experience, so that we can make appropriate responses to the world.